Alright, so what we're going to be talking about in section 4.2 is what they call part-to-part ratio, and that's a ratio that compares one part of one item to another part. So in this case, we're comparing boys in a class to girls in a class. So if we look at the chart, there's 2 boys, 3 girls, and 5 students in whole. So if I wanted you to find x, so I could set up my ratio 2 over x, 3 over 100, and I could cross multiply, and x is 66.6. So what that's telling us is that because it's per 100, that the 66.6, the number of boys is 66% of the number of girls, because I'm comparing boys to girls since the girls is 3. So now if I wanted you to find the ratio of boys in the class, then I would do 2 over 5, which is 2 over 5 equals 0.4, which is 40% are boys, and 3 over 5, which is 0.6, which is 60%. So that's saying that 40% of the class is boys, and 60% of the students in the class are girls. The next one, what was a company's percentage of profit? The ratio of cost to profits for the company was 3:1 in 2011, and the company cost in 2011 were $360,000. So this has got a lot associated with it. So the cost to profit is 3:1. The $360,000 were the cost, so cost to profit. So if I set up my ratio, my proportion, and I cross multiply, I come up with the profit being $120,000. Now to find the percentage of profit, I have to know the profit and I have to know the revenue. The revenue is how much total amount that they made. So the revenue is the profit plus the cost, which is $120,000, plus the $360,000, which is $480,000. So my percentage is profit over revenue, $120,000 over $480,000, which is 25%. So the percentage of profit is 25%. So a lot of information in there. All right, this next example, there's a couple ways to do it. I'm going to talk to you about an easy way that's not right here, and then I'm going to show you the work here. So a recipe for punch calls for 4 parts seltzer and 1 part juice. So if you think about 4 plus 1 is 5. There's 5 total parts, right? If he wants to make 5 gallons of something, and I have 5 parts, then that means I'm going to have 1 gallon of juice and 4 gallons of seltzer. So once I figure that out, then I actually can figure out the rest of my answer, because 1 gallon is 128 ounces, and then 128 divided by an 8-ounce juice gives you 16 cans of juice. So that's one way to do it. But let's say it wasn't as simple as that. It didn't come out as nicely. So what we did here is we took 1 gallon is 128 ounces. I want 5 gallons, so how many ounces is that? So cross multiply and I get 640 ounces. And now part to whole, 1 part juice, 5 part is the whole because it's 5 gallons. So X juice over 640 ounces means X has to be 128 ounces. And then each can of juice is 8 ounces, so 128 divided by 8 would be 16 cans of juice. So this way, over here, where you think about the 5 gallons and the 5 parts is really easy, but it might not always come out to be that straightforward. All right, here's another one. Now this one can be done 2 ways. A store's having a clearance sale and everything's 70% off. So the coat that you want now is now $45. So what was the original price? So one way of doing it is to set up the proportions. So X is the markdown part, 70 is the percentage off, 45 is the part, 30 is the other, 70 plus 30 is 100, and then the whole. So we could set up a proportion, X over 45 equals 70 over 30. Now the 70 and 30 came because 70% off and 30 make 100. So X over 45, 70 over 30, X equals $105 is the amount deducted. So the original price would be $105 plus 45, which is $150. If we look back at what we did earlier, you've got the price minus the discount, which is price times 70, gives you the new price. Well, we don't know what the original price was, so X minus X times 70.70 equals $45. And then this is 1 minus 0.7 is 0.3. And so I'd get X's $150 original. So these are two different ways to think about it. I personally like the P idea with the new price, but that's your choice. Alright, so here's another example. A handheld digital music player was marked down by 1/4 of the original price. So 1/4 would be 1/4 is the same thing as 25%. If the sale price is $128, what was the original price? So we're going to do it the way that I like a little bit more. Original minus 1/4 times the original is $128. So you're taking the price and you're subtracting the discount and you're getting $128, which is the sale price. So again, 1 minus 0.25 is 0.75 times the original is $128, and when we divide, the original price was $170.67. So now the next statement says, if the item was marked up by 1/2 before it was placed on the floor, what was the price that the store paid? So we're going to do the same idea. X is the price that the store paid. Okay, if I take the price that the store paid and I add a half, it was marked up by half of what the store paid, and I got $170 because that's how much it was on the shelf for. So this would be 1 plus 0.5 is 1.5x, and then divide by the 1.5, so x equals $113.78. So the store bought the player for $113. They marked it up and then put it on the shelf for $170. And then later there was some sort of discount, so you got 1/4 off and you had an original price. Now as a business person, this is something you have to think about, because if you spend $113 on this item, in order for you to break even, you can't mark it down much more than that or you're going to lose money. So you have to consider this in your business adventures. Okay, number 6. Vern buys 6 lottery tickets each week at a cost of $5 each and spends $750 per year on his textbooks. So on an annual basis, the money spent on lottery tickets is what percentage of the money spent on the textbooks? So we got to figure out how much he actually spent on tickets. So if he bought $6 or 6 tickets, they're $5 each for a total of 52 weeks in a year. That would be $1,560 per year for tickets. So $1,560 is the tickets, $750 is the books, because we're comparing the ticket price to the textbook price. So 1,560 divided by 750 is 2.08, which is 208%. So he spends basically twice as much money on his lottery tickets as he does on his textbooks. Alright, so this last problem, I've broken it down into some parts. So the veterinarian is administering a sedative to your dog. The sedative is mixed in a saline solution, and the solution's pre-mixed at 10% for a horse, but it needs to be 2.5% to be administered at 0.3 milliliters per pound for your dog. How much saline solution needs to be added to the current solution to reduce it to a 2.5% solution to make it the correct dosage? So here's some things that we have here. So 10, and then the 2.5, so it's the 10% and the 2.5%. The original solution is 100. Since it's a percentage, it's 10 over 100. And then the new solution is 2.5 over 100. The 0.3 is the 0.3 milliliters per pound, so 0.3 per 1 pound. And then it's a 60-pound dog. So the first thing we're going to start with is A. They're asking you to find N, which is how much of the solution should be given to your dog. So my calculations are down here. So we're taking these values right here and doing my calculations. 0.3 over 1 equals N over 60, and then we cross multiply and we get 18 milliliters. So 18 milliliters of the new solution needs to be given to my dog, but I've got to still figure out what the new solution is. Alright, so now I'm going to find S. So it says how many milliliters of the sedative are contained in the dose with the new solution should be administered to the dog. So I'm going to use this information, the 2.5, the S, the 18, and the 100. So 2.5 over 100 equals S over 18. Cross multiply and I get 0.45. So S is 0.45 milliliters. Alright, next I want to say how many milliliters of the original solution contain the sedative that should be administered to the dog. So 10 and 100, and then I'm going to use the S and the O. So 10 over 100 equals 0.45 over O, and cross multiply, and you get O is 4.5 milliliters. So all of this is going to come down to the conclusion. So I need to give my dog 18 milliliters of the new solution. 4.5 milliliters of the 10% solution would be what my dog has. So if I subtract these two, it's 13.5 milliliters. Oops, I'm sorry, you can't see that. It's 13.45 milliliters. I mean, 13.5 milliliters. So therefore, if I only want to give the dog basically 4.5 milliliters, but I have to give the dog 18 milliliters of the new solution, I'm going to water it down with saline by adding 3.5 milliliters of saline. So that's what we find out, is that much saline has to be added. Have a good one.